Here on the ground, change happens fast. Problems feel frequent and urgent. It's loud and anxiety runs high. From a satellite view, the Earth looks the same as it did thousands of years ago. We've been here before. Let's learn from our past and shoot for a better future.
Hello and welcome to this episode of A Satellite View. I'm Todd Mikkelson, your host, speaking at you from Sunday, April 13th, 2025, in the space and time continuum. A red full moon last night. I hope you saw it. It was quite beautiful. It was still a little red when I saw it. Thanks again for joining me. We're talking about tariffs? No, we're not talking about tariffs. Don't be distracted by the tariffs. Trump has no idea what he's doing. His whole administration, they don't know what they're doing. Now, there are some small businesses who are really scared, and I understand that. The super large businesses, I think they know that they've got control over Trump. And, oh, wow, so first he called them off, a couple months ago? Then he put them on. Then he called them off, but then he put them back on China. But now he's taken them off of iPhones and computers and TVs. He has no, and then again, what did he do? He went golfing. So he doesn't know on purpose what's going on. They are trying to keep him from knowing what's going on. It's like, can you just keep him out on the golf course this weekend again? Yes. Well, really? That's not going to look good. He's taken, a vacation, 3-day vacation every weekend and gone golfing. It's cost the taxpayers over $26 million so far. No, just keep him on the golf course. Don't let him see the polls. So that's what's going on with him. And then, Walter Reed physical. And then they come out and say, just the fact that he's played a lot of golf shows that he's in great shape. That's part of the White House report on his physical. Do they say what his blood pressure is? No. All of that is just crap. It's crap. This thing with the tariffs, obviously, it's got a lot of people scared. I hear stories about companies saying, I can't figure out if I should order stuff again. I don't know if I can afford to order stuff. I need to order stuff, say, in July and August. And if it's going to be 150% more than it currently is, I got to fold my business, and I may as well do that right now and give my employees a chance of, decimate the economy. That's what they want to do. That's what Peter Thiel and these oligarchs, that's what they want. And yes, it is a silly catastrophe, but are the tariffs on? Are they collecting money at the border when things come in? Are they charging people like me, a small business owner? If I'm ordering things, I don't really order products from other countries, but it doesn't matter. A lot of small businesses do. Are they being told that they have to pay the tariffs when their new products are coming in? When did that start? On Tuesday? Did the Trump administration set up the bureaucracy at the border at each port where products come in to get organized and figure out what they're doing, what they're charging, what the rules are, what they're charging the company that's buying it, what they're charging, the captain of the ship? You can't just say, the tariffs are on, I'm putting the tariffs on at midnight. I might even go 5 minutes before midnight. And then magically the tariffs are on, right? Why is nobody explaining what the fuck is happening? Have you noticed that? We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. So I don't want to talk about the tariffs too much because the tariffs are a distraction. You know who gave us a warning? This is in 2024 during her presidential campaign.
Include the fact that Donald Trump's plans for the economy would accelerate inflation, and invite a recession by the middle of next year.
Increase inflation, and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. Increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year.
A recession by the middle of next year.
To a recession by the middle of next year. Recession by the middle of next year. Recession by the middle of next year. A recession by the middle of next year. A recession by the middle of next year. A recession by the middle of next year. Recession by the middle of next year.
She tried to warn you.
All right, how many times you need to hear it? Thank you, Tim Miller from The Bulwark, for putting together that montage of only some of the times she said it. And by the way, in 2016, another woman running against Donald Trump warned us of the same stuff. Hillary Clinton warned us that Trump was going to cheat and steal the election, which he did in 2016 and he did in 2024. He tried to in 2020, but it didn't work. So they had to change their tactics to upgrade it and update it. They brought Elon Musk in 2024, and it worked actually too well. And throughout the next coming weeks and months, we're going to find out some things about that. Now, you got to remember, too, that there is, the whole all the world's a stage and we are merely players, right? Donald Trump is the grandmaster villain in this particular play, right? And he's showing us the many, many things that need to be fixed. Here's something that I didn't know before I found out this week. Canada essentially rewrote their constitution in 1982 for modern times. That's what we need to do. And some of the other stuff that's going on is demonstrating exactly what parts of that maybe need to be worked with. For instance, money in politics, but also Congress people having access to the stock market. This is a great time to buy. And then about 30 minutes later, he removes the tariffs. The stock market tanked. Trump says this is a great time to buy. He takes the tariffs off and the stock market goes back up. Maybe you probably understand it better than I do, so I'm not going to sit here and try and explain it to you. But usually when the stock market tanks, the bond market gets better. That didn't happen this time because other countries don't trust us anymore. So American bonds did not go up, and that's why Trump folded. How many times has he folded now? 7 or so in the last week? Leonard Leo and the surviving Koch brother separately has sued the Trump administration. This is something that you did not hear in the news. It happened on Monday. They're just talking about tariffs. Tariffs. Did you know that we sent a whole bunch more troops to Panama over this last week? Did you hear that in the news? We are being distracted by this tariff mess. We got to keep on all this other stuff. Going down the list here. Also to the Middle East, we've added more troops. And we know what happened in Yemen. There's going to be a lot more coming out about this whole Signal Gate thing that happened a few weeks ago. They're scared of that. They're scared of all this stuff. Pete Hegseth, Panama opposition party, accuses U.S. of camouflaged invasion. Discontent with government handling of diplomatic crisis rises as Pete Hegseth says U.S. troops moved to Panama. The U.S. will deploy troops along the Panama Canal for training exercises and other activities under a joint deal that stops short of allowing the U.S. to build bases in Panama, but is still a major concession to the U.S. President Donald Trump. Donald Trump owes Panama a lot of taxes for some building he owns down there. I'm not saying, but I'm saying, right? Is that why were you surprised when he started talking about Panama? All of a sudden he starts talking about Panama? Here's another thing that you did not hear in the news. I don't know if you know who Steve Witkoff. Steve Witkoff is an old friend of Trump. I don't know if he's a real estate guy or something like that, but he's an old golfing buddy. And he met with Kirill Dmitriev, head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. Why is Trump's appointed guy, and by the way, he's kind of acting like the Secretary of State, right? Is Marco Rubio upset about this? He's totally interfering with our foreign policy. And there's video of him putting his hands on his heart as Putin is walking toward him. Right? This guy, Steve Witkoff. Trump just sends him over there to talk to Putin. Shortly after that meeting, by the way, Putin attacks a main street of a town in Ukraine, killing 30 people, including children. Oh, but Trump's going to stop the war, right? And now he's waiting for a phone call from President Xi. We're going to work out this tariff thing. I'm going to make a great deal. It's going to be the best deal you could ever, like no one's ever seen. I'm not sure what Trump thinks anymore. It's pretty clear that he's losing his mind, and dementia is taking over. And who knows what kind of physical condition he's in. And he's just focusing on playing golf. He doesn't seem focused whenever he's on camera. He looks like he doesn't care. And then there's this horrible meeting, his cabinet meeting, where everybody's treating him like it's North Korea. I'm not sure what you've been hearing about all this. Another thing he did was he signed an executive order to do an investigation on two guys. One of them is Miles Tyler, who wrote a book. Miles Tyler was in the Trump administration, and he was horrified at the very beginning of 2017 and 2018. I think he left in 2018, and he wrote a book talking about how there were people there making sure Trump didn't see papers and, removing them from his desk so he either forgot they were there or he wouldn't see them at all. And so Trump says he's a traitor. That's treason. Needs to be investigated. Signed an executive order. And then Chris Krebs, a guy who worked for Trump, who was a lawyer, who said, no, the 2020 election was the safest probably in our history. Well, that's also treasonous, right? Now, what he's been doing, you've been hearing through terrorizing law firms, and some of these law firms are capitulating. It's going to be really hard for Chris Krebs and Miles Tyler to find lawyers because Trump is making all the lawyers, all the law firms, he's going to all the big law firms and basically saying, you work for me. You got to give me this or I'm going to come after your law firm. It's going to hurt your clients. It's going to hurt your firm. You'd be better off just providing me with free legal services. And of course, I'll be watching who else you'll be providing legal services to. Kind of telling them you're not going to go and help any of my enemies. This is insane. I'm going to tell you what it's like when we come back from a short break. You're listening to A Satellite View. We'll be right back. And we're back on A Satellite View. Go to my Instagram, @Todd Mikkelson, and follow me on Instagram. And we also have a YouTube channel. Go onto YouTube and put in A Satellite View podcast, and you'll find our YouTube channel where we're releasing these shows on video in their entirety now every week. So I explained to you that Trump is going through and all the big law firms and basically threatening them, saying, I'm going to make your life hell if you don't give me free law services. And they're pledging hundreds of millions of dollars. Why does he need so much legal protection? Well, because he knows he's doing a bunch of illegal things. he signs an executive order going after a couple of the people that he's just pissed at. I talked about Miles Tyler and Chris Krebs, for instance, this week are two that he went out against. And are those guys going to be able to find lawyers? Because Trump has gone to all the lawyers and said, you're not going to be representing anybody that pisses me off. I don't know if you've heard of the TV show The Sopranos, where Tony Soprano is a mob boss. Tony Soprano's wife, Camilla, wanted to divorce him. She couldn't find any lawyers. She called all the lawyers in town. And they said, I can't represent you because I have spoken to the person that you're going against. Tony Soprano, either he called or he had someone for him call all the divorce lawyers in the region and just say, hey, I'm Tony Soprano. I'm looking for a lawyer. And he would call the next one. He would call the next one. He would call the next one. He even was telling them, yeah, I'm talking to you about the fact that my wife wants to divorce me and I'm looking for representation. So then when she calls them, they say, I already know about this case and I already spoke to your opponent, so I legally cannot represent you. These are things the mob does. These are things the mob knows how to do. These are things, the reason the mob knows so much about the court system is because they go up against it all the time. Same reason Trump knows so much about the court system. He's been sued multiple times. He's gone bankrupt multiple times, and he doesn't care because he just knows how the court system works. This is one of the major things that's being pointed out by him in this big story where all the world's a stage and he's the biggest villain on some things that we need to fix about our systems in this country. Canada essentially rewrote its constitution in 1982 for modern times. We need to as well. I've said many times on this show, if the Founding Fathers came back right now and we said, hey, man, that's a great job you guys did writing that Constitution. And they're like, you know about that? And we're like, well, yeah, we go word by word for word. We uphold the whole thing. And they're like, why? It's supposed to be changed by now. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, we wrote we the people, but we really should have wrote we the white male landowners. I mean, no, we were expecting you to keep up to date on this. I mean, fuck, do you still have slavery? Well, we got rid of that. So, some people want it back now, though. Oh, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people? Why did we start this country? That's what our founding fathers would be saying. They're trying to distract us from things. Do you remember the show Get Smart? Maxwell Smart, he was kind of a bumbling FBI agent or CIA agent or whatever. Big top secret agency. It was kind of supposed to be like the CIA, I think. And the enemy was like kind of, you got the idea that it was Russian, but they didn't really use the word Russian or Soviet Union. They were called chaos. That's what the Republicans want. That's what all these oligarchs want. That's what the guys who wrote Project 2025 want. They want chaos. That's what Trump wants. But it's seeming like they're too stupid. Again, how are they managing the tariffs? Are the tariffs really happening? Did they get all organized so that the tariffs are working and everybody's going through a system? That sounds pretty complicated. By the way, you know the song Forget Smart? What about that Led Zeppelin song? Huh? Plagiarism a little bit by the rock band there? You didn't think we were going to catch that, Robert Plant? I caught it. If I was Maxwell Smart, I'd be suing your ass. Anyway, here's another funny thing. Trump apparently this week offered $10,000 to every Greenlander to just say, hey, be a part of the United States. We'll give you $10,000. That's an actual thing that actually happened. Did you hear that in the news? Now, here's some great things that are happening in the news. Last weekend, not this weekend that we're in right now, but last weekend, it would have been something like the 5th of April. More than 5 million people turned out for all peaceful protests with no incidents, nobody hurt, no cops hurt, no police incidents whatsoever. 5 million people across the world, most of which I think in the United States. I'm not sure about that, but millions in the United States peacefully protested and is scaring the crap out of the Republicans and Trump. At least pissing them off and bumming them out. More scheduled protests similar to those are scheduled for next weekend on the 19th of April, which is next Saturday. I'm thinking probably more than 5 million people are going to show up. But I was thinking, it's too bad that we don't just have the protests every weekend. Well, Bernie Sanders and AOC are on tour together. Talk about a Led Zeppelin type of thing. They're on tour together like a rock show, except they're pulling in more people than Led Zeppelin used to. They were in Los Angeles yesterday, where between 36 and 38,000 people showed up for their single event. And then they went to Coachella, the big pop music fest. Bernie Sanders is speaking to all the kids coming out to the huge pop music fest held every year in Coachella, where there was 125,000 or so people. And he went up on stage. And when he mentioned Trump, all 125,000 people gave out huge, loud boos. That's if you add up 125 to 38, that's 80, that's 193, I believe, if I'm doing math correctly. 193,000 people are still protesting on a weekend where nothing was organized to protest. Thank you, Bernie and AOC. Also, I almost forgot about this. Shadow hearings being held by Democrats. I think Dan Goldberg is involved. Chris Murphy. I think, they're like lawyers, who are now legislators. They're holding shadow hearings on a few things. Also, they have opened investigations on this inside trader stuff because of what Trump did with the tariffs, because it seems like actually a lot of legislators played the market, inside trading, and made a lot of money. At the top of the list is Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are things they're trying to distract from, and they don't know what they're doing. So we need to, again, hold firm. The tariffs, they're probably going to be all gone again within a week. And I know the uncertainty is excruciating. I run a small business. What happened over COVID was a huge problem for us. With supply chain issues, things like that. We do have materials that we use that come from other countries, and I don't know what's going to happen with those. I have no idea what's going to happen with those. But I am not afraid. I'm not going to give them my fear, like AOC says, because I'm not convinced that they're organized enough to even make the tariffs come into effect, essentially, in reality. So keep in mind, yes, He is just like Hitler, except Hitler wasn't an idiot. The Nazis weren't stupid, bumbling idiots. The Republican Party has left. They have no brain power left. The whole Project 2025 thing. They don't know what they're doing. We have to stick together. Show up. Show them. This isn't working. The American people are not with you. You do not have support. All of these protests and all of these people showing up at these things, it is important. Yes, you might be only one person. But if everybody thinks, oh, I'm just one person, I'm not going to vote, right? Everybody's got to play their part. Democracy is not a spectator sport. You got to get involved. We got to take care of each other. We got to comfort each other. We got to remind each other that this guy is nothing to be afraid of. These people are bumbling fools. They're bullies. And when you give a bully an inch, he tries to take a mile. But if you stand up to a bully, he immediately shuts up. Some of these huge law firms are standing up to him. And it's working. Of course it's working. That's what you do to bullies. You stand up to them. And that's what we're going to do. I know this is crazy. It's hard waiting with hope to see what's going to happen. One of these military things is going to get him thrown out. And I don't mean impeached. I mean thrown out with J.D. Vance along with him. People are going to turn on people. Elon Musk is going to turn on Donald Trump or the opposite. And who else is going to turn against Elon Musk? And where the fuck is he, by the way? And what did he do? What did he have young people that he was underpaying or not paying at all do in the weeks leading up to and especially on November 5th election night? Are any of those people going to be or already are disgruntled? Last week I talked about that there are already rumors that there is at least one, if not more than one, person who used to work under Elon Musk with Starlink, working with Congress, telling them about what they did under Elon Musk's orders, who was under Donald Trump's orders, who was under Vladimir Putin's orders. We've got to take care of this. We've got to serve justice. We've got to get things set right. I'm very hopeful, but it's really hard to watch all this destruction going on. But it's this destruction going on that is turning everybody, and I mean everybody, against Donald Trump. Do you know how huge of a deal it is that Leonard Leo is suing the Trump administration? If you don't know who Leonard Leo is, go look him up. I'm not going to go through all that. We don't have time, but that is a huge story that's not being reported on because of they're trying to do the chaos to distract us. So let's keep our eye on the ball. I will try and keep you informed of these things that the news is not informing you of. I will try and keep reminding you of what really happened, reminding you of what 2024 was like and what the Kamala Harris campaign was like and the Donald Trump campaign was like. People are starting to talk about this. People are starting to use the term, we need a military coup to get him out. People are starting to put their brains in different places than you could have ever imagined where we would go in years past. I know you're thinking of some of those things. I know I am. So we need to keep the pressure on our people. We need to keep making the phones overwhelmed on Capitol Hill. That's another thing that's been going on for weeks. We need to keep doing that. Keep calling your representatives. Keep letting them know where you're at. Keep the pressure on. It's working. It is working. So let's keep doing that. And take care of yourself. It's getting nicer outside. Get outside. Have some quiet time. Set some time aside for quiet. And rest your brain. Go inside yourself. You don't have to think about all this crap all the time. Do things you love doing. Play the guitar more, play the piano more, draw more, paint more, sing more. What are other things people do? I don't know. Build model rockets more. Listen to music. Play music. Get your records out. Watch a funny movie. Or just something that entertains you. Just, veg out. Make sure you veg out here and there. So just take care of yourself and let's take care of each other. I will be here every week. Oh, hopefully last week I almost couldn't do it, man. But this week I'm back. I'm feeling a lot better. I will be here every week trying to keep you up on the things that are going on. Hopefully bring you some hope. The troops in Panama are not going to be willing to do any actual military things that Pete Hegseth wants them to do. And they're pissing off and scaring. And by the way, talk about shutting down the right wing. The conservative party in Panama is losing support because the United States sent troops to Panama. That's actually a good thing in the end. But if Trump tries to actually use these troops, that he's putting more in the Middle East, he's putting more in Panama, is he going to try and send them to Russia? The military, we're thinking there's already some people in the military who are working against him. We talked about that last week and the week before. And I'll keep up on those things as well. There's just so much going on, but I really will. I'll try and bring you the things that aren't coming to you in the news. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I feel like I want to tell you again. Don't let this idiot scare you. Don't give him that. Don't give him your fear. It's what he wants. Don't let him have it. All right. I'm going to let you go because we went overtime again. Thank you so much for sticking with me on A Satellite View this week. We will speak at you next week.
You've been listening to A Satellite View with Todd Mikkelson. Go to toddmikkelson.com for links and more information.